Hello, welcome to the second episode of my 40-day spiritual journey. Many people spend their entire lives running from regrets and hiding their shame. Have you once in your life wished you can undo some things you've done in the past and that you wish you could have made a wiser decision so your life didn't turn out like how it is now? Of course, in one way or another, you have regrets because if it wasn't because of a bad decision or a bad thing that you've done before, you could have had a more peaceful life, or you could have had achieved all those dreams you have been longing for in your younger years. Don't blame yourself for not having the wisdom you have now when you were younger. Of course, that time you were still young and you don't make very good judgments than you do now. Don't smother in self pity and forget about regrets. Instead, focus on your present. Forget about the chapter in your life where you feel some sort of shame for what you've done. It's even better that you've made those mistakes in the past, for if it wasn't because of those mistakes, you couldn't have been the kind of person that you are now, stronger than who you were before. Though your life may not have turned out to be like how you envisioned it to be a long time ago, there are also great things that have happened to you that others may have been wishing they could have gone through. Next time, just be more cautious of your decisions or your actions so you could have a more fruitful life. It's never too late to start all over again. Dreams are for all ages, so whether you are on your 30s or 40s, you can still fulfill those dreams you've had before, with exceptions, of course, because there are also things that you can no longer do because it's already inappropriate for your age. Do you also wish that when you were younger, you could have done this or that because you can no longer do them now that you're a little older? Find a version of those appropriate to your age now. When I was younger, I used to be so naive and serious about life. I'm serious about my career, my relationship, my dreams, and living in general. I've dreamed about having the best career nearby or maybe far away from home. Me and my friends have been aiming to work in a bank, which never did happen. Only two persons in my circle of friends were able to realize this dream. Me, I've had my first job far away. It was such a lonely place. I don't know anyone at all. My father accompanied me towards the place. We rode in a van along with other agent wannabes. The employer picked us up. I was so ashamed that time because my father was the only parent there evaluating the place I'm gonna stay at. I don't know why I decided to take that job. I was hesitant at first because the place was really far and I was quite scared to be on my own because we don't have enough money that time. Knowing this, I cannot just go home anytime I wish. I have to be frugal to make it out there, but I took the risk somehow because I would also want to please my parents and at the same time the pressure of getting a job soon enough is right on soon as I graduated. I was envious of some of my classmates who are not in a rush to find a job. Well, they came from a well off family, so unlike me, I need to get a job as soon as possible to help with the expenses, of course. So as soon as my father have seen where I'm staying, he hugged me and left me with a few cash. He cried as he said goodbye. He never cried. That was the first time I saw him cry. It was a heartwarming moment because I felt my father loves me, that he doesn't want to leave me there, not knowing if I'll be okay. So there I was, living my life away from home with complete strangers. I was so nervous every day because I don't know what to expect, what's going to happen every day. Everything was new to me. We have simulations every day. We train every day. Luckily, I passed. I was assigned in a telecommunication account. The job wasn't that easy for me because we have no telephone back then, so I am not familiar with how it operates. They have these packages which I now know of as plans. Every time the phone rings, it's like a million horses are racing inside my chest. The concept of answering a call is basic, but the fact that you are talking to foreign entities, that's what makes it hard. Although I have full understanding of the English language, there's quite a difference when you watch an English movie and when you listen to a call. It's easier to understand an English movie because you can see what's going on. There are visuals. When you talk to a foreigner in person, it's also somehow easier to understand because you can see their lips moving and they have gestures. Taking calls from foreign nationals is quite difficult because you are just dealing with a voice. They can speak fast or slow. Sometimes they have twang, and of course, the accent sometimes makes it quite difficult to comprehend what they are trying to say. But you just need precise hearing skills and the ability to quickly comprehend what you heard, and of course, computer skills. Some callers are nice, some are rude. It's not something unusual because not all person have the same approach on certain things. Of course, when you're a newbie, you don't seem to work at your best yet. Most callers don't have a lot of patience, so that's just what you have to work on. I have a notebook where I kept all my notes about my job. It's funny because sometimes I still have to put the customer on hold because I have to read my notes on what F keys to press to access certain data about the customer's account. It takes time to familiarize yourself with all the F keys function in order to navigate all the ins and outs of the customer's account on database. The sad thing is, you cannot put them on hold for so long. Only 1, 2, or 3 minutes. It's all because of the operational costs. Sometimes, you still have to call a technician abroad about certain issues. Sometimes customers would tell you certain things about their place, wirings, etc., which I don't even know of because I haven't been to America, so I have no idea how to imagine these things they are telling me, like a scenario after a hurricane. But there are also really nice customers. I remember one nice sweet girl by the name of Jean Spears. And I remember also one man with a deep, raspy voice with an account named to Ben Stern. That was my most memorable call because after that, I quit my job. It wasn't because of him that I quit my job. It was because I found it quite complex to handle. He abided by the rules. The fault was on our end, so I was the one who received his rant about the issue. He submitted the documents needed to change the account name from his father to his. I have no idea why there seems to be no change on the account. He got mad because I asked him to resubmit the documents. So he gave me a 30-minute to an hour or so of complaints about our faulty services. I am so sorry about that because I was a newbie that time and most of us are somehow erroneous on certain transactions because it really takes time to have a complete understanding of that job. If I could have stayed there for a year or so, then maybe I could have had a full grasp of telco customer service. So I quit the job because I found it quite complex. Back then, I did not understand the value of that work experience. I could have stayed longer and ignored the hardships of that job. All things are difficult at first, but I didn't have patience that time because I was young and a fresh graduate. Sometimes fresh graduates have this attitude of too much confidence that they can just hop from one job to another. Because when you are a fresh graduate, you see yourself as on top of the world. You think that you have all the qualifications and skills to get the best career in a snap. I could have allowed myself to learn, and maybe after being fully skilled, I could have moved to Manila for a better life. All these are just I could have had. Why, when I was younger, I didn't have the right mindset and the maturity to think clearly and make the right decisions. Maybe this time I could have been at the top of my career and have been living the best life possible. These are just some of the regrets I have in life. But maybe I quit my job and went home for a deeper reason. As they say, everything happens for a reason. I wish I could bring back the time and relive my life so I could fix where I went wrong. Anyway, kidding aside, I'd like to say sorry to all those accounts I haven't processed that day. I received a series of calls that day, one after the other, and I didn't have the time to process their requests. My advice to youngsters out there, don't think of quitting your job too early just because you find it hard. All jobs are difficult at first. Allow yourself to have at least 1 to 3 years of that work experience, after which you decide whether you'd stay or you'd like to find a better opportunity. After a year or two, that job that you once found difficult will now be as easy as it can be. I remember some callers who would ask to speak to my supervisor because they thought I'm a little kid fooling around. My voice back then sounds like that of a little kid over the phone. I don't know how I sound now. Others would ask me to repeat what they are saying because they thought I am a machine, a recorded voice. I find it funny sometimes. One caller said my voice is so soothing, sweet sounding, soft spoken. But there are also those who would bully me and imitate the way I speak on a very slow pace. Something like this. Hello, I'm sorry, but we don't offer services on that area. This job really tested my patience, but since it was my first job and I'm not used to all these kinds of stuff, I gave up and went home. Back then, I thought jobs are nothing but paperworks. I remember crying beside my supervisor because of the immediate attention that I got because I did not handle the call well. There was a time when I envied my colleague who was assigned in credit card sales. I wished I was assigned in that account too. Sales is easier because there is a script and you just have to read it, but with emotions, of course. What's good about sales is that they have commission after a successful sale. I remember her treating us with a pizza to Isbaro because she was able to sell a credit card to a customer and she got a 25,000 pesos commission for that. Cool, isn't it? It's a nice job, but tiring. So if you go for a call center job, choose that one that you can get the best compensation package from so you don't feel the stress after. The blessings that you can get from your hard work will soothe that. The one I got was provincial rate and no commission because it's customer service. No script, just your own ability to resolve the customer's concerns. If you want this kind of job, you settle for a company based in Manila because there you'll find the best ones in the industry. Sometimes I have thoughts about entering the industry again, but I don't think I still have what it takes to fit into this kind of job. It's quite daunting because of its shifting schedules. Sometimes you have to work night to day. I don't think I can focus on the calls. It's also been a long time since I had spoken real good English. I speak slow now. You have to practice speaking English every day to enhance speed. Although the industry has no age limit, they are more populated by youngsters. I'm not after the ever flowing cash, but it just challenges me a little. Just seeing myself thrive in this kind of environment. I want to see if my years of experience, my knowledge and skills from those years of working can change the way I see this kind of job now. Maybe what I once saw as something difficult is now easy peasy for me. I suggest you get into all kinds of jobs so you develop a sense of expertise in all areas. Knowledge and skills in a lot of fields can be a great help to you if you seek for career growth. I've thought about it. I would want to, but I have decided that I will just venture into business because I want to live on my own terms. I cannot get what that job can give, but I can have peace of mind. I no longer aim for something to brag career wise. That was years ago. I'm now contented with just what I can handle. A little source of income is enough. I know that you too have dreams and aspirations in life. But if you are caught between pursuing your goals or ambitions and personal comfort, think carefully. What will you do with all that money that you are earning when you are physically, mentally, and emotionally troubled? Sure, you can buy a lot of things. You can go to a lot of places. and that will suit your stress. But every day after that rest, you'd still go back to that same scenario that you've tried to run away from for a moment. I am not telling you not to work, because there are also work environments that would bring out the best in you. You just have to find where they are, and it's not easy to find them because most work environments can be toxic if you're not that type of person who is very sociable. Back in the days, it isn't like this. When you talk about work, you mean work. Now, the work environment comes with all the trivialities that you can possibly think of. If you are a serious person, find a company populated by nerds and geeks, because there you can thrive longer or even a lifetime. Most employees these days would prefer to have colleagues of the same species. As they say, birds of the same feathers flock together. They resort to this kind of mindset because they want an easy and smooth sailing work life. An employee would tend to stay longer in the job if he or she jives well with the co-workers. This would only happen if they are of the same nature. If you are of the same species, it's like everybody is a friend to everybody. If you are not the same as your coworkers, chances are you will be ousted lest you fight for your place. I don't know what it is that makes people see you differently when you are aloof or having an odd behavior or responding differently and quite different from most of your colleagues. It's because most people prefer that type of colleagues who tell stories while working. When you are aloof, they would think of you as someone who's killing a fun working environment that they can have if you're just as loud and outgoing as they are. They begin to have these stereotype ideas of you, which can be very opposite of what you truly are. If you come from a well-off family and you don't necessarily have to have a stable source of income, then you can take your time to find your true passion. If you want to do photography, film, or any other. But if you are a breadwinner, then you might as well consider to save for a while, and later on, when you have saved enough money, you might also consider finding a better opportunity. That is if you are not enjoying what you currently have. It's just a matter of choices, decisions, or passion. What's important is that you are happy. But in order to be happy, you have to love what you are doing. As for me, I choose my personal comfort because I'm already getting older, so I would want to focus on what I really would want to pursue. I don't hate jobs. I just prefer to celebrate my individuality, my true passions in life. I don't want to get myself too wasted all because I need to earn money. I also would want to take care of myself. I don't want to keep on hurting myself and pretend to show to everybody I'm fine, but deep inside it consumes me up. There's no use showing to them that I'm brave. I am, but there's nothing to prove. Me and five of my colleagues lived under one roof, so I had the chance to live with complete strangers. We've just known each other there. Different personalities, so there are dramas sometimes about chores, about food. There's the slamming of doors, not opening the room, etc. But this is probably the part that I wouldn't want to forget because even though we don't know each other, we looked after one another. I am so thankful to one of my friends there because when I got sick, even though I knew she was tired because she just came from work and she hasn't slept yet, she accompanied me to the doctor. We became good friends after. This experience taught me my first lesson on independence. When you are subjected to a place where you don't know anyone at all, you develop that soaring form of independence, that kind of confidence where you can get through everything by yourself. Before we parted ways, we wrote a note to each one of us on a tissue paper, our wishes for one another. It feels great to have created a bond from amongst strangers. So, why are you aloof anyway? I don't know. This is just how I am. It depends. Nothing against anyone. I just don't talk when there's nothing important to say. I only expose my whole self, every ounce of my being, when I feel comfortable with who I'm with because I also do not feel well sometimes. We go through many ups and downs. We only deal with them the best way we can, so I hope that some people can also understand how we behave, why we behave the way we do. But I really am not that curious about what other people has to say about me. I also want to be liked by anyone or everyone, but it's not really my goal in life. The place where I had my first job is like an abandoned place, a zombie land. Seldom will you see people roaming around, so it's very, very lonely. So if you're caught in a place where it's very lonely and you have commitments of some sorts back home, do not make decisions up front or out of impulse, out of that loneliness. Some youngsters are caught between their career and their love affairs. Some quit their jobs for the one they love back home. Look at it this way. If you are rich enough and having a career is not that important to you because you have enough to keep your life going, then you can quit your job. But if you are a breadwinner or you are that type of person who has a solid vision of a successful future, then think twice about quitting your job. I know that love is a great feeling. It makes you happy, and sometimes your world revolves around it. But it's better to use your head than let yourself overpowered by your emotions. If you have to choose between your dreams shining on distant shores and your special someone, you pursue your dreams. Because if your partner loves you enough, it wouldn't have to come down with choosing what to give up. If your partner loves you enough, he or she will support you with your goals. And no matter how long it takes for both of you to be reunited to each other, you'd still have that loving feeling. If love shared between two people is strong enough, distance or time can never alter how you feel for each other. I tell you, if you sacrifice your career for someone you love, you might have regrets in the end. Although you might also regret being apart from your partner, always remember that you can always find a new partner who can give you the same happiness that you found in him or her, even better. But if you choose to give up on your career, you might regret it because great opportunities happen only once. When you miss that opportunity, it will never come back. As time passes by, you are slowly losing your chance for that awesome professional success. You can always find a new partner, but it's super tiring to establish a solid foundation career wise. I'm not saying you should not value your relationship with your partner. If you can have both your career and your partner, the better. One day you might say, I could have had taken that opportunity a long time ago. I could probably be living the best days of my life by now. This is the most bitter form of regret, especially if you did not end up with a happy ever after with the one you sacrificed your career for, and you see him or her now happy with someone else and successful career wise, while you ended up having a dull life because you failed to find success career wise. Much worse is that you ended up with no one, all by yourself, broke and struggling. So, piece of advice, use your head more than your heart. Most relationships don't last that long, so you make a fortune first and everyone will love you in the end. Many people hold on to hurts and never get over them. Don't bear grudges against anyone you've had hurt feelings with. Forgiving is easy. It's forgetting that is difficult. You have forgiven a person if the mere thought of him or her no longer bothers you. You can already smile at him or her when you see him or her. But every time you remember what has happened in the past, those memories bring back the angst that you once felt, the annoyance, the hatred. Just when you thought you were already on your way to forget all those things, you now begin to be hating them again. That doesn't mean you hate them. You just recalled some things that should have been forgotten. This is because what has happened before gave you so much hurt inside. I also can feel this roller coaster of emotions sometimes. Just as you thought that chapter of your life is over, you suddenly recall bitter and painful memories. All those recalling makes you hate them again. The reason why sometimes I distance myself from particular individuals is because I don't want to remember whatever it is that has happened in the past or whatever misunderstandings or arguments we recently had or currently have. So instead of being okay with them, I start to be mindful again of what they had done or what happened that made me feel bad. I distance myself not because I don't want them in my life, but because it is for my own good. To maintain a healthy or friendly atmosphere, because the more I will remember some things that hurt my feelings, the lesser there is that possibility of being friends with them. I am a nice person, so are they. Most people are also nice, of course. You just don't understand each other's personalities. In your eyes, you are nice. In their eyes, they are also nice. Just look at it that way. It's like what you are doing is annoying for them, and what they are doing is annoying for you. Either way, you are both heroes of your own selves. They have their own style of approach on certain things, and you also have yours. In other words, your conflicting personalities prohibit you from becoming friends with each other. Don't feel bad if their behavior or how they treat you doesn't coincide with your idea of how you would want them to behave or how they should treat you, because maybe that's just the way they are. You just wish they could have treated you better. Never expect to see the change you want to see, because not everyone has the same heart as you. It just hurts you because they just couldn't be those type of persons that you envision them to be. Sometimes you are too idealistic. You want everyone to be as nice as they can be. There is no such thing. They can be good but not saints. You get hurt because you expect them to do what you do for them, or you wish they are to you what you are to them. Well, sometimes, although I do understand, it's frustrating to know that you don't have the heart to hurt them, but it seems like they are willing to hurt you. Get over them and forget those hurts, because maybe they are not as bad as you think they are. You just don't understand how this whole thing works, because all you see is compassion, which is hard to witness nowadays. Many people's fears may be a result of a traumatic experience, unrealistic expectations, growing up in a high control home, or even genetic predisposition. Regardless of the cause, fear driven people often miss great opportunities because they're afraid to venture out. Instead, they play it safe, avoiding risks and trying to maintain the status quo. Have you ever felt hesitations when talking to a person? Thoughts of whether you should make friends with that person? What causes your hesitations? Is it because you don't trust the person, or is it because once in your life you've been a very trusting person, but being a trusting person gave you a bitter experience? You felt betrayed because the one you trusted hurt you in the end. It happens. It's natural for friends to quarrel once in a while because of misunderstandings. You've felt bad because that one true friend of yours exposed your darkest, deepest little secrets, and you felt shamed for that. Or it could be that that one true friend of yours left you in the dark. It's okay to have hurt feelings, but past is past. Forget all those dark times and patch up your tainted friendship. Also, not all people are the same. It doesn't mean to say that because you've had such a painful experience in the past, it will happen again. It might or might not happen, but don't you think it's wrong to suppress yourself from living freely because of your hesitations? You are prohibiting yourself from nourishing a blooming friendship, and you are pulling yourself away from all the joys that you might be having out of that friendship. So learn to trust again, but don't be too trusting. Because if you are too cautious, you'll find yourself so lonely because you're all caught up in your own little world instead of exploring the world outside of your comfort zone. Sometimes we have so many frustrations in life. It is because we expect too much. We have great visions of this and that, and sometimes it's too far from what could only be in real life. We want so much in life. We have ambitions, and sometimes we get blinded by the fact that those things we are dreaming about are far too complex to be realized. When we fail, we fall so hard because we expected too much. It is perfectly understandable because it's normal to soar high. When you dream big. You're just dreaming anyway. It's okay to dream big, but never expect that you will be able to fulfill all those big dreams of yours because there are lots of challenges along the way that you need to overcome. Blessings don't come easy. You have to work hard for it. Patience also is a big factor for achieving your goals. Keep on dreaming, but keep your expectations low. Dreams make you go further. They motivate you to keep on moving forward just when you think there's no way for a better tomorrow. They say you should not be afraid to take risks, to venture out, so you won't miss great opportunities. I disagree. It depends. It's good to take risks once in a while, but not all the time. It depends on your capability to handle the consequences involved in the kind of risk you are taking, be it in business or life in general. In business ventures, if you can handle the loss that may be the after effect of the risk that you might be taking, then go for it. In life, you have to be very careful in taking risks because you only live once. Do not pretend to be Superman so others can't call you a coward. I'd rather be called a coward and live 100 years than make everyone believe I'm super courageous. Not being skeptical about certain things before making important decisions, after which I'd find myself in the grave. It's not important how they see you. It's your life, not theirs. If you are making decisions for yourself, just ask yourself what makes you happy, then go for it. It's yourself that you need to serve, not others. If you will keep on allowing other people's opinion to dictate your perception and your judgment on things, you will not be able to live your life fruitfully. Because it's them you have pleased, not your inner longing. But be very cautious of your actions and your decisions because life is not something that you should just throw away. If you die, you cannot resurrect yourself and correct the wrong decisions you made or whatever it is that you have done. Some people, however, risk it all in the name of love. Do not. It's a stupid thing to do. I know that sometimes some people risk it all because they love a certain person way too much. Love is a wonderful feeling, but don't risk your life for the one you love. If you die, then you see the one you have died for be with someone else after you died. That could be the worst thing ever. I could cast storms, thunder, and lightning if this happens. So think twice before you do something that you are not even sure of what the outcome will be. Many people have unexplained fears, including me. You fear the unknown. Sometimes there's a feeling of fear when you are unsure of what's going to happen. Say, for instance, you fear going to a certain place all by yourself because you don't speak their language, or that you've never been there before and you don't know what's in there, or you fear going there because you're too scared to be on your own. You fear that they might not comprehend what you are trying to say. You fear that the place you are going to is inhabited by untamed tribes who are cannibals, and you have been imagining that they might eat you raw. You fear that you'd get lost there without a companion. If you have many fears, you will never know the truth behind things. What are you fearing from? You'll never know what is in there until you get there. Then you'll realize, what have you been fearing all along? When you enter a job or venture into a business opportunity, you also have fears lurking within you, right? You're scared that you might not be able to do things right and be unsuccessful. Uncertainties are normal to be feared, but fear is just a state of mind. You have to tame these uncertainties because it's only full of what ifs. Just try to navigate it at first, even though it's difficult. Little by little, you will get used to what you're doing. Eventually, you will see that things just seem difficult at first. You will never succeed if you allow yourself to be clouded by fear. Have you ever wished that your household has an open communication? You can talk about anything. This is not common in all households. Ours, we don't talk about private stuffs, only generic ones. We don't talk about relationships, love affairs, stuffs like that. We love each other in our family, but we just find it too eerie to talk about such. I don't feel comfortable talking about myself, my romantic affairs, etc. I just wished we are quite talkative. Things like that, we just keep them to ourselves. We're quite stiff, you know. We laugh at each other when we get cheesy. We only share what we can. We don't get into conversations that are not within the parameters of our personalities. Your life purpose becomes the standard you use to evaluate which activities are essential and which aren't. Without a clear purpose, you have no foundation on which you base decisions, allocate your time, and use your resources. You will tend to make choices based on circumstances, pressures, and your mood at that moment. Without a clear purpose, you will keep changing directions, jobs, relationships, churches, or other externals, hoping each change will settle the confusion or fill the emptiness in your heart. You think maybe this time it will be different, but it doesn't solve your real problem. What is your ultimate goal in life? What do you want to accomplish before you reach the age of 100? What do you want to become? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be with? Provide answers to these questions, and your answers to these questions will define the activities that you should be involving yourself with. Set a specific goal and focus your attention on achieving that goal. Don't waste your time on activities that you think will not foster the realization of that goal. Sometimes you will make sudden choices based on circumstances, pressures, and your current mood. This can deviate your mindset towards other things that may not lead you towards your goal. There are situations in life where you would pause from doing activities that leads you towards your goal and do something else because that is what the circumstances in your life are calling for, or it could be that you are pressured to do such, or maybe it is what soothes your mood at the moment, what heals your suffering. It's okay to be deviated once in a while from the path that you should be taking. Every day is not always a sunny day. Other times it can be gloomy. So do what you must, but still keep in mind the goals that you need to fulfill. If you have set your mind towards achieving a certain goal, you will keep a straight line towards that goal. If you are uncertain, you will be distracted most of the time. You will say, "What if I do this or that instead? Maybe I'm better in this one than that one. Maybe I'll have better chances of living a more rewarding life on this than that one." See, there's a lot of confusion going on. You have to clear your mind from all this confusion. What is it that you want to do? Stick to that goal. You may be having difficulties. It's natural to feel difficulties. Nothing so rewarding comes easy. If you want to be different from the rest, it can be difficult. But if you want an easy life, take the easy route, just like what most individuals would opt for. Most individuals don't prefer to go into hardships, so they go for the typical roadmap. It's like going where everybody else is going. I don't prefer trekking this roadmap because I want to leave a legacy that is mine alone. Mind blowing, isn't it? Sometimes it's hard to deviate from what everybody else is doing because you're all alone in there. You've got no companion. You tremble, but you're happy because that is what you want for yourself. Sometimes we opt to go to what everyone else is up to because most of the time it cures us from all the pain that we are feeling. Or maybe our lives will be a little different this time, quite far from all those struggles we've been having for years. It doesn't solve your real problem because it doesn't fill the emptiness within, because your happiness is yourself, your way, and you're annoyed at anyone who tries to tame yourself. My ultimate goal in life is not to succeed on anything at all because it's already too late for that. I could have established a stable career when I was still in my younger years. My goal is perhaps to create a better future by making the most of what I have or can have somewhere along the way. By the time I reach an old age, I hope that I have saved enough because I would want to spend those days traveling to places I've never been to, so I'd be a happy oldie. What do I want to become? I want to be nothing but who I am now, who I've always been. Perhaps I just want to make some improvements on myself because I have some flaws in my character which I have been continuously working on all this time. I need to improve my capacity on being patient because most individuals I meet these days tend to become so annoying. It's like testing the superpowers that I possess, by the way. It's really testing me to my limits. I just hope that God works His way towards me and give me an infinite gift of patience because I don't want to be enemies with anyone, or that I don't want anything worse to happen to anyone or everyone. Where do I want to be? There's nothing else I can envision other than being at home, sitting on the couch, relaxing. I wouldn't want it any other way because I really need to have some alone time. Who do I want to be with? I do not know who will be there for me because I know that my character is quite difficult to comprehend. I do hope that someone will come along. I just need a person who can appreciate me the way I am. Nothing more than that. Before this video ends, let me correct a mispronounced word on my previous video. It is pronounced as mischief rather than mischief, and status quo rather than status quo.